De Bruyn. This award, Isithwalandwe, is awarded to Comrade Sophia Williams-De Bruyn at the advanced age of 81. Comrade Sophia De Bruyn remains an ageless and active heroine of our movement and an iconic reminder of the journey of our nation that it has undertaken from apartheid colonialism to a free South Africa. Comrade Sophie is an active member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC Women's League and also a member of the ANC Integrity Commission. We honor her this day, 12 January 2019, for her bravery and bestow on her the highest honor of the African National Congress, Isithwalandwe, Seaparankwe, on Sophia Williams-De Bruyn.
There she is.
Comrade President, I am not sure that what I've done was enough for me to merit this award today. But I want to thank you, President Cyril Ramaphosa, and your National Committee and our National Executive Committee for thinking that I deserve this award.
All right, what we've just seen there is the last surviving leader of the 1956 Women's March, Mayor Sophia De Bruyn, receiving, of course, the Isithwalandwe or Seaparankwe, which is the highest honor the ANC can bestow on an individual at the ANC's manifesto. This happened over the weekend in Durban when the ANC was launching their manifesto. Yes, indeed. And our producer, Nompumelelo Mthethwa, takes a brief look at the life and the contribution of this iconic figure of the liberation struggle.
The day South African women raised their voices. If their cries were not heard before, they were on this historical day in August of 1956. And their numbers, over 20,000 of them, ensured the government was all ears. Leading them were four fearless women, determined to give the then Prime Minister their petition protesting against the obligation that women carry passes. The youngest of the leaders was the 18-year-old representative of the Colored People's Congress, Sophia Williams. The young village board-born activist made her name by speaking out for her fellow factory workers in her Port Elizabeth hometown. During school holidays, Williams will earn money working at the local textile factory, where her schooling put her in a position to solve issues her colleagues had with factory bosses. She found herself doing trade union work, interacting with mainstream political movements. In no time, she rose up the ranks of the Textile Workers Union in Port Elizabeth, becoming an executive member alongside veterans like Raymond Mhlaba and Governor Mbeki. At just 17, in 1955, she had become a full-time organizer of the Colored People's Congress in Johannesburg. The Women's March followed a period of renewed activism in reaction to the election of the National Party with their policy of apartheid. Personal level, sometime during 1959, Williams marries Henry De Bruyn, one of the early Umkhonto weSizwe cadres. Following Shovel, when 69 people died during protests against the despised pass laws, black political formations were banned and their leaders arrested. As so began the exodus into exile, led by O.R. Tambo, whose office she would work in. Like many activists, Sophia De Bruyn found herself in Zambia, Lusaka, along with her family, where she worked for the ANC president. Exile also gave her an opportunity to finish her schooling, attending evening classes while working for the ANC by day. After completing her studies, she received a scholarship and went on to get training as a teacher. Williams-De Bruyn will play an influential role in keeping the Women's League alive in exile, for a period serving as its secretary.
Watinti bafazi. Malibongwe.
Many of the younger women who found De Bruyn in the league described the interaction with her as a privilege.
It's unbelievable, actually, to work with Aunt Sophie. She takes you from administration issues to political issues, how you should talk to other people, forgiveness, believing in the ANC and not compromising the ANC for your own selfish reasons.
The end of apartheid was marked by a series of negotiations that started in 1990. This coincided with Sophia De Bruyn's return after 3 decades. Hers was to coordinate the homecoming of thousands of exiles following the unburdening of the ANC and other liberation movements. They returned to a different South Africa to the one they left.
I was very overwhelmed and very emotional when I first came back. I was sitting in a bus upstairs and I saw the children going to school in these big schools, entering the yard, holding hands, black, white, Indian and colored. That was in the 90s, after we came back. And I was so touched, and the tears came to my eyes, because when I left in the 60s, and I came back in the 90s, that was unknown. We had what we call the separation, the Group Areas Act, and all those kind of acts that kept us apart. And there were these children happily holding hands and talking and jumping around one another, going to school.
Her return did not end her activism. She threw herself into rebuilding the ANC Women's League following her election into the League's National Executive Committee. The first Women's Day in a democratic South Africa was celebrated with a march. For the icon of the women's struggle, the 1995 event brought the realization that the fight for freedom and compromise was all worth it. In recognition of her contribution and achievements, she received numerous honors, most significantly the Order of the Southern Cross Class Silver in 1999, at the time the country's highest award. Williams-De Bruyn also received the freedom of the city of Johannesburg, which became her home after leaving Port Elizabeth.
This very award means a great deal to me. As I said, it's made me a free woman of the city, but it has instilled in me much more pride than I've been instilled already, and the work that I've been doing, and it is spurring me on that I cannot, at my age, sit on my laurels. There is work to be done.
Added to these honors is having a street in the country's capital named after her. While she held various positions in the movement, as well as being a member of the parliament between 2010 and 2014, Williams-De Bruyn is respected for dedication and not seeking position, as is common among activists of her generation.
Sophie is that she's very simple. There was no airs about her. When you gave her a task, when she was given a task, she made sure that that task was completed and was done. And that is how she's, even now after exile and after coming back, she's still totally committed to the South Africa that we dreamt about. The vision that we had must be realized.
She radiates that kind of soft power. And when I say soft power, it's not because she is petite in stature. Even when you look at a photograph of her, it's just striking to see that she emanates that kind of authority without the aggression.
When the teenage leader from the Port Elizabeth suburb of Village Board climbed the union's building stairs, she was not aware that decades later their demands will be forever engraved on the path they've walked, and that the tree they've planted will bear fruits for generations to come. Nompumelelo Mthethwa, SABC News.